Hello everyone. So I thought I'd make a little vlog just talking a little bit about my experiences in Peru. At the time of making this video, I've been here 72 hours thereabouts. I'm very tired and don't expect any fancy editing in this video. It's just going to be me talking to the camera, just a little bit about what I've been up to. If anyone happens to stumble across this video who's not friends or family, hi, I'm Sam. I'm a teacher. I've recently moved to Peru to start a job at an international school teaching geography and social studies. I'll be honest, I still don't entirely know what's going on. Just to sort of talk through a bit what my first 3 days have been actually like, my experiences getting here. I flew from London to Lima via Madrid on Air Europa. They were efficient, I will be honest, it wasn't the most comfortable flight in the world. I was very glad to get off the plane. I made a really rookie error of opting for a window seat, which I usually do. I love a window seat on planes, but I usually fly, well, all of my flights in recent years have been short haul in Europe. This is quite a different experience. I was hoping to see beautiful vistas of the Amazon and going over the Andes, maybe see the sunrise over the Andes. I thought it'd be amazing. I didn't see any of that. I just saw black the entire flight. It was really uncomfortable. The cabin crew were not spectacular. But what I will say is, yes, it was complete blackness, but coming into Lima is absolutely bizarre. It was really early in the morning. I could feel we were descending, could not see anything out the window, no lights or anything. And then we just went through this thick bank of fog. They call it garawa here. It's like this surface level cloud, really, really thick. And suddenly these lights start shining through the fog. You can see these sort of lights bobbing on the ocean. Really, really mysterious. It's like the fog in the Truman Show, or like descending into Brigadoon or something like that. Really mysterious, but really cool. I was really glad to get off the plane and go through immigration, which was really smooth. I barely had to queue. There's no visa requirements for tourists in Peru or most of South America. So I don't have an employment visa yet. I need to apply for it while I'm here. So I was told just to say, when I was asked why I was here for tourism, how long are you here for? I was like, well, a month? I don't know, 2 months? It's not true, I'm here for at least 18 months. Where am I going to go? I was like Cusco, Arequipa, all the normal tourist places. And he just waved me through, so it's very smooth, and I feel like I've just lied to the immigration authorities, but this is just how it works here. So, but my visa is in, my employment visa is it being processed. I told you I'm tired. So I had a taxi waiting for me. By the time I got through immigration, got all my luggage, it was about 5:30 a.m. The traffic was already insane. Now, I used to live in India, so I'm quite used to bonkers traffic. This was on another level though. I think it's more dangerous than India, and it's not that the driving standards are worse than India. India's driving is atrocious. The issue is that most of the vehicles were these massive SUVs, not European SUVs, which comparatively modest in size. The big American ones. The car I travelled in was the biggest vehicle I think I've ever been in. It was huge. It was just mad. It was really, really mad. Within about 10 minutes of leaving the airport area, the taxi driver nearly murdered a motorcyclist. He was indicating left for ages and then just swerved into the right hand lane right in front of a motorcyclist. I don't think the driver saw the motorcyclist. I did from the passenger seat, but it was exciting. But the traffic's bonkers in Lima, at least in the areas I've been to so far. It's creative driving, and the taxi driver, his advice for me around the airport area was just never stop. The area is called Callao. It's quite dangerous. He said because he's been carjacked there before, and it was comforting. But anyway, I'm staying in an area called Circle, or Santiago de Circle. It's a residential area. It's quite a bit out of the main city, so it's not touristy at all. I've got a really amazing view of the Hippodrome. So there's a big horse racing track. So I've been watching the jockeys practicing. There's been a few races on, which I can see really clearly from the window. I've closed the balcony door. I don't know if you can hear the traffic, but it is quite loud and busy. But yes, it's a really nice view. You can see the Andes as well in the background, and yeah, it's pretty nice. Now, in terms of the weather, I was prepared for the weather being weird in Lima. I've done plenty of research. I'm a geography teacher, so it is something I'm interested in. I don't think I was prepared for quite how weird it is, though. It's really hard to describe because we're in the tropics. We're 12 degrees south of the equator, but Lima's a desert. But it's a really foggy desert, so it's extremely humid. Like, I just feel really clammy. I've had a shower this morning, and already I'm just feeling like really clammy already. It's not hot. It's warm. It's comfortable. It's like a comfortable temperature, but it's not hot. It's just really humid. In the 3 days I've been here, I haven't seen the sun. It's just been constant fog. So yeah, it is called the Garoa. I really hope to do a sort of more thorough video on this at some point in the future. Once I've done a bit more research and sort of experienced a bit more. But it is really fascinating. Now, one of the things that is going to complicate the weather probably this year is El Nino. The science behind El Nino is baffling, and I don't fully understand it. But in terms of the effects of it, it's a weather phenomenon that occurs over the Pacific in unpredictable patterns, but it causes inflated temperatures in the water, which can often lead to rainfall. Lima doesn't get rain, but it could get rain this year. So it's not confirmed whether this is going to be an El Nino event in 2026 or even a super El Nino event, but it's looking like it could be. I see the commentator from the Hippodrome speaking. I don't know if you can hear it on the microphone. Anyway, but yeah, that's going to be something that's going to be really interesting for me, particularly as someone who likes weather and climate, to follow. So yeah, that's something I'll think about more in the future. Yeah, so right now I've just been drinking loads of coffee. Fortunately, the Peruvian coffee is really good. But yeah, I'm very tired. I'm very jet lagged. I've been getting up at some time. Well, I've been becoming conscious sometime between sort of 2 and 3 a.m. most mornings, and trying to force myself to sort of sleep in a bit longer. But yeah, I'm tired. I am jet lagged, but it's not bad at the moment because I do feel like I'm getting into the routines. There's been a lot of paperwork to do. Yeah, I'm not in survival mode or anything. I'm just trying to sort of orient myself. It's been a lot of things to get my head around. Spanish in particular. I'll talk about that a bit more later. But yeah, I've been going into school. Just like orientation. I've met my colleagues. I met some of my students. Met my tutor group. Again, I'll talk about that in a sec. I went to a place called Jockey Plaza, which is like, well, it's the Hippodrome, so it's right next to the Hippodrome. It's the biggest shopping centre in Peru. It's utterly soulless. It's a big shopping centre, but it does have everything, and somebody from school showed me around, just like where the banks are, the phone shop, all those sorts of things. I have a confession to make that the first like proper meal I had in Peru was a Burger King, which is like, yeah, I'm very excited to try ceviche and all the sort of Peruvian dishes too. But I was absolutely ravenous Wednesday because I just hadn't eaten anything. On the Air Europa flight, there was dinner the night before, which was, for airplane food, it was okay, but it was just a really tiny portion. Breakfast was like a thimble of coffee and a muffin that was like this. It was miniature. And it's like, yeah, not exactly filling. So I was absolutely ravenous, and my body was just craving salt, protein, carbs, and calories. I just wanted that. And I saw a Burger King. I thought, do you know what? I've no shame here. I'm just gonna have a Burger King. It really hit the spot. Yeah. But yeah, 12 to 20 hours or so travelling. Yeah, I needed the calories. I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. I have had some Peruvian food now. if I just describe Peruvian food in a word, it's carbohydrates. Every meal I've had has been some combination of rice and potatoes, but often pasta as well. So if there's they do these, there's a term for it and I can't remember what it's called, but like a set menu, 2 courses, the soups all have pasta in them. So much carbohydrate, and I am craving vegetables right now. That's a weird thing to say because it's like, well, it's not weird, but I like vegetables, but there just haven't been many vegetables with any of the meals I've had so far. It's like maybe a little onion garnish or something, but that's kind of it. So I need my vitamins, need my minerals. So that will hopefully be improved by the time as I sort of get more proficient in Spanish. I do not speak Spanish, and I didn't study Spanish in school. I've never had a Spanish lesson in my life. I have been to Spain, so I have a smattering of sort of basic tourist phrases that I've accumulated and some bits of vocabulary here and there. But no, I don't speak Spanish. So when I found out I was getting the job, I did begin studying Spanish. I was preparing, obviously, to move countries and emigrate, which was my priority. So I wasn't studying heavily, like intensively. I've done a bit of Duolingo and that sort of thing, not sort of serious study. But since I've been here, it's really obvious that Spanish is an essential skill, and I just refuse to be a British immigrant somewhere who doesn't speak the local language, particularly in a Hispanic country. A lot of I will be teaching at a bilingual school, so I'll be teaching in English, but a lot of my colleagues don't speak English. My students are all EAL, mostly Spanish speakers, not exclusively. Native Spanish speakers, should I say. Outside of the touristy areas, people do not speak English here, so none of the taxi drivers I've had speak English. In restaurants, in any of the shops, anything, at school, my Peruvian colleagues mostly don't speak English, or not much of it, apart from people in the HR department and some of the senior staff who speak reasonably good English. So yeah, Spanish is something I've been trying to work on a bit more seriously. I do have a tutor now, so I've moved a little bit beyond Duolingo. I've had a couple of Spanish lessons. There are school pay for some teaching resources as well, which is really useful. I'm doing a lot of guesswork in guessing the cognates, and I've been sort of watching some films and TV shows in Spanish. Been doing a bit more sort of more formal study from books as well. I've got reasonable grounding in Latin, which is just helping me guess words, and I'm just trying to be sort of quite aggressively incorrect in my Spanish. It's like hopefully as quite an articulate English speaker, I want to say something in English. I want to say something. I'm trying to translate what I want to say in English into Spanish, which I can't do because I don't have the vocabulary or the grammar to do it. So I'm just making good use of the vocabulary I do have and trying to shoehorn it into as many different situations as I can. It's better to try and get your point across with imperfect language than just to not speak at all. So yeah, aggressively incorrect is kind of where I'm at the moment. But it is something that is going to be a major focus, is to improve my language skills, because I just will not be able to interact with anyone outside the expat community without it. Fortunately, Peruvian Spanish is quite clear. People are really patient. People really want to talk. So just as an interesting part of this, the security guard who works in my building, he's from Venezuela, and I get the impression there's a bit of tension between Peruvians and Venezuelans, but something for another day. We've been having quite a lot of Google Translate conversations. He loves to talk, and he told me he was a welder in Venezuela, and he was shot in the chest. So he actually showed me the scar across his chest. It's like quite obviously bullet wound with the entry and the exit wounds. So he fled with his family to Peru. But yeah, he as I've been coming back in the evenings, he's made me a coffee and just like talking. So clearly I look very tired. I suspect he's quite bored as well, because it's a very different sort of job that he's got. But yeah, I think there's something very strangely human about trying to communicate with somebody when neither of you sort of speak each other's language, but just trying to make that sort of human connection and be empathetic and patient with one another, which has been nice. But yeah, hopefully I'll just become a bit more proficient and quickly as I interact with people. So moving on, I'll just talk about a little bit my experience of being in school so far. I've been in school every day. I haven't actually taught a lesson yet. One thing I have done is met my tutor group. So I've got a grade 7 or year 7 tutor group. They're very nice, very friendly, very excited to see me. I think they've just a really disrupted time of it because it's May now going into June. The academic year starts in March in the Southern Hemisphere, or at least in Peru. So of course they've had a bit of disruption without having a regular teacher. They are very chatty. So I'll talk about that in a sec. But what was quite nice on Friday I was on gate duty with SLTs, the senior leadership team. They greet every student as they come in to school with a handshake or a high five, whatever the student fancies, which is really nice. And of course I was there as well as a new staff member, and they were introducing me to all the parents. So I don't know how many people I met on Friday. It's probably best part of 1,000 different people, students and parents and colleagues. I've forgotten all their names already. It's just obviously I can't. My cognitive capacity is like up here at the moment. Peruvians are very tactile. Handshakes between men, very common. With women, it's always a hug and a kiss on the cheek. So it's been quite. It's a brand new person I've never met before, and they just go in for a hug straight away. But yeah, it is nice. It's a very nice sort of warm sort of greeting and start to the day with everybody. And one of the things I would say though is that I'm a British teacher. I've worked in schools in the UK. I've also taught in India before as well. British schools are a complicated beast, and they tend to be quite rules focused, quite strict on the whole, particularly in the private sector. Now, the cultural context in Latin America is very different, and I get the strong impression that sort of the strict approach to teaching that I'm used to, that sort of warm, strict approach, is not going to translate very well here. So I have been given some advice on that by colleagues. I will talk about that more in the future once I've actually taught some more lessons. But it is something I'm sort of thinking about now in actually how am I going to approach my first lessons. For me, I don't really know what I'm teaching on Monday, to be perfectly honest. There's various reasons for that. Curriculum is a bit all over the place at the moment, so there's some work to be done there. But I do have a plan, but it's going to be very much building those relationships, I think, and getting to know them getting to know me. For me, to ascertain where they are in terms of their subject knowledge and that sort of thing, because there are definite gaps that I've observed already. So there is going to be some complexities there culturally, I think, that are going to need navigating. Now, something that was really weird was on Friday. We had an earthquake drill, which was something really unexpected for my first day working in a new country. Now, I'm told this was I don't know if this was a Lima-wide drill or it was a national Peru-wide earthquake drill, but in Lima, yeah, they went all out. They had in the streets, they had the police out, the army out, various medical authorities. They set up tents in the street, so they were rehearsing for the big one, the big earthquake. The siren went off, and I could guess what it was for. It was a fire drill or what, but obviously I just followed everyone else. Slightly concerningly, the evacuation route goes underneath a load of balconies in the school, which I'm not entirely sure of. I am told that the building is designed to withstand a magnitude 9 earthquake. Whether I believe that is another matter, but it's not in my hands. But anyway, so I'm choosing to believe that it is aseismic. I think I've experienced earthquakes here already. So It's the horse racing again. It's just getting really loud. I feel like I've experienced earthquakes here already, like not big ones, but tremors, because there's been a few times where I've sort of in the night it's been shaking. I think, is this just a big truck going past the building, or is this an earthquake? And I think it's more the latter, to be honest. And I've been told tremors are very common. They have had a couple of big earthquakes over the past year, not ones that have caused massive damage, but significant tremors. And so it is a part of life here. It's not something I've really experienced before. But yeah, one of the weird things about the earthquake drill, and is went out into the playground, so it's an open space. The boys were sat in a ring around the girls, and I was like, is this like a school policy, or is this something else? Is this like chauvinism, or is it chivalry? Is it, controlling, or is it protective? And I asked colleagues about it. It's not a school policy, it's just what they do. It's probably a bit of both, to be honest, whether it's boys being chivalrous to the girls and protecting them, or if it's actually just quite controlling behaviour. It seems a bit more of the controlling, from what I've been told. It's one of the, I don't know enough to comment any further on that at the moment, but what I will say is the statistics in Peru on things like domestic violence are really quite alarming. So I'll leave that there. One of the other interesting things it's another thing I probably shouldn't really be saying anything about because I don't know much about it, is politics. So there are elections coming up in a week or a couple of weeks' time in Peru. None of my colleagues know who the current president is. I don't either. It's an old bloke, I can't remember his name, but they've had a lot of presidents here in Peru in recent years. There have been a lot of elections. The debate's been quite spirited, and I'm sort of just trying to follow along with my rubbish Spanish and the Spanglish that is quite often used as well. It's between a guy called Sanchez and Keiko, who's the daughter of a former president who has a mixed legacy for various reasons. Again, I will try and learn more about this at some other point. But you can feel how divided things are and how divisive politics is. One of the things I have been told is that if Sanchez is elected, there will be riots in Lima. Lima seems broadly pro-Keiko. But stock up on beer was the advice I was given. Stock up on beer before the elections. So yeah, I guess advice I can take, even though I don't know. I don't have a horse in this race. I don't know really anything about Peruvian politics other than that it is tense. And it is intense, and it is... They get rid of their presidents quite easily, apparently, here. Very different to the United States, for example. So yeah, I've been talking for 23 minutes straight, and I'm quite tired. And just to wrap up, things feel quite unreal at the moment. It's quite hard to believe I'm here. I haven't been doing any tourist things yet. I haven't been down into Miraflores or Barranco or San Isidro or the historic centre or anything like that. Been here in Surco, just sort of really get myself geared up for Monday. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to actually just getting stuck into a routine, getting used to things. I've got a lot to learn. I'll say right now my cognitive capacity is like right up here. It was up here, frankly, before I left as well, because I've just been frantically organising to try and actually get out to Peru as well. That's a whole other... That was a busy time. But in some ways it feels like I've done almost nothing. In other ways it feels like I've been here weeks already. But I'm ready for it. I'm looking forward to it. And I hope to sort of make some more videos, hopefully with some photos and other sort of video clips that I've taken here and there as time goes through. Any questions? Yeah, please feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to answer. Right, see you later. Bye.